that you have learned about resistance, current, potential difference, and about these resistors, electromotive force sources, and the activity of cells, everything, let's move on to electrical circuits. So first, let's discuss about a simple closed circuit. Now, what is a simple closed circuit? It is a circuit with one cell and one external resistor. We can draw it like this. One external resistor and one cell. Now this is a simple closed circuit. The resistance is R and the EMF of the cell is E. And if we consider the internal resistance of the cell as simple R and the current flowing through the circuit as I, like this. I'll draw this same circuit like this now. What I'm doing here is taking this internal resistance of the cell as a small resistor externally. It's still the same thing. So this is R, this is E, and this is the external resistor R, capital R. So we consider this entire thing as this cell. I have taken the internal resistance outer to this cell as an external small resistor. So here also, this is the same circuit, same current I. So I current flows across this resistor and also this resistor, this internal resistance of the cell, and now this is the EMF of the cell. So you know these things now. Here the EMF supplied by the cell is used for two things. That is to generate a potential difference across this external resistor and also to generate a potential difference across this internal resistor. So if we consider the drop of potential across the external resistor equals I into R. You know V equals IR. So if you write drop of potential across the external resistor equals, so you know V equals IR, potential is V, IR, so I is the current flowing and external resistance is R. So the drop of potential across the external resistor is I into R, and the drop of potential across the internal resistor is I into simple R. So the electromotive force supplied by the cell is used to generate potential difference across external resistor and internal resistor. We can write a relationship as EMF supplied by the cell equals potential drop across the external resistor plus the potential drop across the internal resistor. So then we can write the EMF supplied by the cell. The EMF supplied by the cell is E. It is equal to potential drop across the external resistor is I capital R, and the potential drop across the internal resistor is I simple R. So I is common, so we can write like this, R plus R. This is something you should remember. And now here if we consider the potential difference across this external resistor R as V, we can write a relationship V equals IR. So for this, instead of IR, you can write V. So E can be written as V plus IR. So then you can write V equals E minus IR. This is another thing you should remember. Potential difference across this external resistor is equal to the electromotive force of the cell minus potential drop across the external resistor. So this is all you have to remember in this. these two relationships. Now that you have learned about simple circuits, let's see how to solve complex circuits. Means a circuit which has more than one cell, more than one resistor, and a circuit which has other devices connected to it, such as voltmeters, ammeters, capacitors. So when solving these kind of complex circuits, we apply Kirchhoff's law of circuits. There are two Kirchhoff's laws, Kirchhoff's first law and the second law. Now let's see what the Kirchhoff's first law says. It is also called the law of current. What the Kirchhoff's first law says, that in any node in a circuit, now consider a node like this, means a junction. This is a node, means a junction. In any node in a circuit, the algebraic sum of currents is 0. That means if you consider the currents flowing into the node as positive, consider these currents flow into the circuit. Let's take I1, I2, I3. If you consider these currents as positive and the currents flowing out of the circuit as negative, consider this as simple I1, simple I2, simple I3, the algebraic sum of them is said to be 0. We can write it as sigma I means current, equals 0. So you can write what? I1, consider these as positive, I1 plus I2 plus I3, and these as negative, minus I1 minus I2 minus I3 equals 0. So then you can take these minuses to this side and write this as I1 plus I2 plus I3 equals simple I1 plus simple I2 plus simple I3. So now you see what this Kirchhoff's first law says is the sum of the currents flowing into a node of a circuit is equal to the sum of the currents flowing out of the node of a circuit. So this is what Kirchhoff's first law says. It is the law of current. This law shows the law of conservation of charges. Here the charges are neither created nor destroyed. This shows law of conservation of charges. I should remember that. Now let's see what the Kirchhoff's second law is about. This is called the law of voltage. Now the first law was called the law of current, and Kirchhoff's second law is called the law of voltage. Now let's see what Kirchhoff's second law says. It says in any closed circuit, the algebraic sum of the products of currents and resistances to a selected direction of a loop is equal to the algebraic sum of electromotive forces towards the same direction. So now consider something like this. Consider just a single cell and a resistor. So what the Kirchhoff's second law says is, in any closed circuit, the algebraic sum of the products of currents and resistances. Now here if we take the current flowing through this circuit as I, we move like this. So this algebraic sum of the product of current and resistances to a selected direction of a loop, we have a single loop here. Now in complex other circuits, you can in complex circuits with many branches, you can select many loops. So the algebraic sum of the products of currents and resistances to a selected direction of a loop is equal to the algebraic sum of electromotive forces towards the same direction. Now this is, here we have one cell here. Here see this we can mark the direction of electromotive force from negative to positive. I have taught you earlier this. Okay, now if we consider the loop like this is the loop. Here we can write, according to Kirchhoff's second law, sigma IR equals sigma E. Sigma means the algebraic sum. Okay, so here IR equals E for this case. So this is what you should remember for Kirchhoff's second law. Sigma IR equals sigma E. So if I write Kirchhoff's second law in any closed circuit, the algebraic sum of the products of currents and resistances to a selected direction of a loop, IR products, is equal to the algebraic sum of electromotive forces to the same direction, sigma E. Okay, so sigma IR equals sigma E. So this Kirchhoff's second law, the law of voltage, shows the law of conservation of energy. The first law shows the law of conservation of charges. This second law shows the law of conservation of energy. So now consider a complex circuit like this. Now let's apply Kirchhoff's laws to this circuit. Now when you are given a circuit like this, there are factors you should consider when applying Kirchhoff's law to any circuit. So there are these factors you should consider when applying Kirchhoff's laws to a circuit. So first of all, what you should do is you should mark the direction of the current. Now here you see there are many cells. There are actually 6 cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells. So now you have to select one cell and mark the direction of the current starting from that cell. So when marking the current through the circuit, consider one cell pushes the current, and you have to apply that without violating the Kirchhoff's first law. Now here, if I start marking the current, I'll start from here, E1. If I start marking the current from E1, I'll mark like this. I current flows. Now this I current flows from here to here. Now what do you see? You see a node here. So according to the Kirchhoff's first law, this I current has to be divided to these two branches. The current flowing into this node is I. The current which flows out of this node should be equal to the algebraic sum of this current. The current flowing, the algebraic sum of the current flowing out of the node should be equal to I. So we can consider the current flowing through this one as the current flowing through this as capital I1. Let's say capital I1 flows through this. And now what is the current flowing through this branch? That is capital I minus capital I1, the rest of the current. So the algebraic sum of these two is I. So now this current flows through this. So first of all, what you should do is marking the direction of the current starting from one cell. You can select any cell here since you don't know the value of the EMFs. So now here this I1 moves through this and it reaches this node. So again that I1 gets divided to these two branches. So how will it get divided? Let's assume I2 current flows through this. And now what current flows through this? I1 minus I2. Minus I2 flows through this branch. Now I1 minus I2 flows through this branch. Finally, the current that should reach E1 cell should be this I. Current which leaves from that has to come there. So here you see I2 flows from here to here. I2 here to here. Now, see in this node, so now here you see the current flowing into this node is I minus I1 and I2. So the sum of those will move out of this node. So it's the current flowing this through this minus I1 plus I2. That's according to Kirchhoff's first law. So that current flows through this. Finally, to this node, I minus I1 plus I2 and I1 minus I2 current flows. Now, when you get the algebraic sum of this, what do you get? This cancels, this cancels. So finally, you get back again this I current flowing to this cell. So first of all, you have to mark the directions of current. I have written the factors to be considered when applying Kirchhoff's law to a circuit. So now I discussed with you this first factor, the first point and the first factor. So when marking the current through the circuit, consider one cell pushes the current. Consider one cell pushes the current and apply it without violating Kirchhoff's first law. And the second point under that is, it is not essential to consider the way the terminals of cells are connected in marking the current. Now when marking the current, the way the terminals of cells are connected is not considered. You just mark the current according to the Kirchhoff's first law. So once you have marked the current, now we can select loops to apply Kirchhoff's law. Now how many loops do you see here? There are 4 loops, okay? This is one loop, this is another loop, this is another loop, and this entire circuit is another loop. So there are 4 loops here. You can apply Kirchhoff's second law to any loop that you select. So first I'll consider this loop. Current starting from here to here to here and from here. This loop. This loop. Okay. So how do you? So when writing, you should write for the loop. For the loop A, B, C, D, A. If it's a loop, you have to end it from the letter you started. A, B, C, D, A. Loop. Okay. Now you mark, denote a loop. For the loop A, B, C, D, A, you apply Kirchhoff's second law. What is that? Sigma IR equals sigma E. I'll first write IR. Sigma IR equals sigma E. So now the next task is finding these IR products. Now there are factors to be considered when finding the IR products. I have written it under this second point. If the current flows to the same direction as that of the direction of the loop, now here the current flows to the same direction as that of the direction of the loop, the IR products are considered as positive, and the IR products to the opposite direction of the loop are considered negative. Now what does that mean? Now we consider this loop. So now what's the direction of the current? This path. So here you see the direction of the loop and the direction of the current are the same. So if the current flows to the same direction as that of the loop, the IR products are considered as positive. So here this IR product, and these internal resistances of the cells are also considered. These IR products are considered positive. Okay, so the next factor is when considering the IR products, both internal resistors and other external resistors have to be considered, both internal and external resistors. Also, it's not necessary to consider the way the terminals of cells are connected when obtaining the IR products. That's not necessary. That's not considered. Only the direction of the current and the direction of the loop are essential here. So since the direction of the loop and the direction of the current are same, these IR products will be positive here. So what do you get first? I capital R1, this IR product, and this internal resistance of the cell is also considered, plus capital I1 R2, simple R2, and this capital I1 capital R2, that IR product. When you come along the loop, this internal resistance of the cell, so that is I1 minus I2 to R3, and this one I simple R1. So these are the algebraic sum of the IR products. I have written them here. EMF is considered as positive if the EMF is supplied to the same direction as the direction of the loop. If it is to the opposite direction of the loop, then it is considered as negative. So first what you should do here is marking the directions of the EMFs. Now here you know the directions of the EMFs are marked from negative to positive. So I'll mark it like this: negative to positive, negative to positive. That's the direction of the EMFs. So now the direction of the loop we consider is here. Now you see, consider cell E1. The EMF of the cell is to the direction of the loop. This way, the loop goes this way, so it's to the same direction. But see here, loop is to this way, but in E2 cell, the EMF is to the opposite direction. So in such cases, this is considered as minus E2. When the direction of the EMF of the cell is opposite to the direction of the loop, they are considered as negative. This also minus E3. So how you write the algebraic sum of EMFs here? This is plus E1, and this is minus E2, and this is minus E3. So this is how you apply Kirchhoff's law to this loop and write this and write the relationship. So finally then you can solve this. I won't solve everything here. You can solve this and get the relationship. So when obtaining EMFs, another point I have written here, when obtaining the algebraic sum of EMF, the direction of current flow is not considered. Okay, so when obtaining EMF, the direction of current flow is not considered, and when obtaining the direction of current, the direction of EMF is not considered. Remember that. So now I'll show you how to apply for Kirchhoff's law for another loop. Now consider this loop, A, D, E, F, A loop. Okay. If I apply Kirchhoff's second law to that loop, you can write for the loop A, D, E, F, A. For this loop, if we apply sigma IR equals sigma E, how are you gonna write? First what you should do, consider direction of current flow. So now in this loop we consider, you see there are two directions of current flows. Now this is just a loop, not the direction of current flow. So now let's start from here. You see the direction of the loop is to this direction and current flow is to this direction. So IR product is positive. So you can write I2, capital I2 R3 plus, here same I2 moves through the simple R4 to the same direction of the loop. So I2 R4, here to the same direction of the loop, this current flows through R4. So I minus 2 R4 plus direction of the loop, direction of the current. Same here again. Here 2 times simple R5. And now here you see the direction of the loop is this direction and the current flows to this direction, downwards. Loop is to upwards. So in this case, this IR product is negative since the direction of the current flow is opposite to the direction of the loop we consider. So we write here minus I1 minus I2 times simple R3. So this is the algebraic sum of the IR products. And the next step is finding the algebraic sum of EMFs. So you have to mark the direction of EMFs, negative to positive. So this is to the same direction of the loop, this is to the opposite direction, this is to the opposite direction of the loop we consider. So this is positive and these two are negative. Can be written as E3 is positive. So here E3 is positive, E4 is negative, and E5 is negative. So this is how you write Kirchhoff's law to that loop, A, D, E, F, A loop. So I think now it's clear for you how to apply Kirchhoff's laws to a circuit. When a voltmeter is connected to a certain part of a closed circuit, no current flows through the voltmeter because of the infinite resistance of the voltmeter. So when applying Kirchhoff's law by selecting a certain loop, these voltmeter readings are considered as IR products. So consider this circuit here. This is a voltmeter. This is how you denote a voltmeter, and I'll consider the reading of the voltmeter as V. So now in this case, you see you can mark the terminals of this voltmeter. This is plus, this is minus. So first, when you are marking the directions of currents, there's no current flowing through this branch. Why? Because of the infinite resistance of this voltmeter. So if I start from this cell, I current flows. A current won't flow to this branch because of the infinite resistance of this voltmeter. So the same I current flows from here to here. So there won't be any current in this part. But in questions, they might give you certain data and ask you to find the EMF of this cell. So in such cases, you have to apply Kirchhoff's laws. So when applying Kirchhoff's laws, consider if you apply Kirchhoff's law to this loop, DEABD, this loop. I'll show it here. For the loop DEABD, this direction, if you apply sigma IR equals sigma U, sigma equals sigma IR. So what do you see here? the direction of the EMF of this is towards this direction, this towards this direction. So when finding sigma E, you don't consider the direction of currents, so only you consider the direction of the loop. So you have two cells with the EMFs to the same direction of the loop, so they are written as plus. So it's E1 plus E2 equals, now sigma IR, here you see this internal resistance to the same direction of the current, I simple R1, this one, I capital R1. Here, is there a current flowing through this internal resistor? No, there's no current flowing here, so that's not written. And here, this voltmeter reading is considered as an IR product, so it's plus V. Okay, so that's how you write it when a voltmeter is connected. And now what happens when an ammeter is connected? Actually, nothing happens there. Now, assume an ammeter is connected, ammeter is denoted by capital A, is connected instead of this voltmeter. What happens? Since the internal resistance of ammeters are very small and it's assumed as 0, currents flow in this branch. So currents flow in that branch, but we don't take any IR products for ammeters because actually there's no internal resistance for ammeters. So when an ammeter is connected here, it just acts as a conducting, zero resistance conducting wire. Nothing happens. So when an ammeter is connected, only if they have given an internal resistance for the ammeter, you have to consider an IR product for it. If not, most of the times for ammeters there's no internal resistance, so they are not considered any IR products. So this is how you summarize it. Zero internal resistance has no effect. If the resistance is given, it is considered as an IR product. Another very important fact you should know is when a certain point in a circuit is earthed, what's gonna happen? So when a certain point is earthed, what happens is the potential of that point becomes 0. Nothing happens to the current. So that's a place where most children get confused. So you should remember there's no current flow to the earth from that point. Now if I draw it here, so now consider a circuit like this. ABCD circuit. Now if I earth a point of this circuit, now for example I'll earth this point. Earthing means you connect a conducting wire to the earth. This is how you mark it. You earth it. So what happens? What happens when you earth? Now, do you think the current flows here to the earth? If you start from this cell, will the current flow to the earth? No. There's no change in current flow. It moves through this circuit. If I mark the direction of current flow starting from this, if I current flows here, there's no current flowing to this earth part. The same I current flows through this. Okay, moves back to this cell I. So what happens when you earth this? The potentials of these points become 0. Like this. Now I color those potentials. Potential of the earth is considered as 0. I hope you know. So what happens? Potential D equals 0. That's what happens here.
Thanks for watching. Hope this video was helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Subscribe us and click the bell icon for more videos like this.